A very warm welcome to the HS2 construction site, not far from Coventry. We are here in the sunny West Midlands of England for this Driving Safely, Driving Safe for Work event that's been organised in conjunction with Project Edward. They're here for us, we're here for them, and we all team there for putting this together. But the main thing we have is all three road trip cars reunited. We are here in Coventry after having travelled up and down the UK over the last 4 days. You're very welcome to join us for the next 45 minutes or so. We talk through what's going on here. We're linking up with people in a panel conversation at the end to look at what we take away and what hopefully you might want to take away from the week. But first of all, my colleague Simon Turner is over there. How's things, Simon?
Thanks, Neil. We've just finished watching a really good demonstration of the emergency services performing an extraction from a large site vehicle, which was really interesting seeing how they all work together. But the purpose of today is to show a lot of the drivers who will be performing a lot of the transport movements in and out of these sites to help them help raise awareness of the various risk issues for them. Driving, as we all know, for work is a really high risk activity, and doing so on a construction site is even more high risk. So the whole day has been put on to raise awareness amongst the drivers and share various skills with them. Now, the two people at HS2 and Balfour Beatty who are responsible for putting on today and making sure that safety process is followed throughout the project, we're here today, and I spoke to them earlier. So we're here at the Balfour Beatty Vinci joint venture Project Edward event today, which is a fantastic event, and I'm joined now by Michael Dyke, who's the managing director of Balfour Beatty Vinci joint venture, and by Emma Head, who's the technical services delivery director for HS2. And your past role has obviously included a lot of safety as well, and that's within your remit now, isn't it? Now, in your opening addresses, you both very eloquently described the risks of driving for work and how important it is on a corporate responsibility level to ensure that all your drivers are safe and go home safe at the end of the day. So, Emma, I'd like to ask you first, how you build driving for work policies and safety into your overall health and safety strategy for HS2.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we defined our health and safety strategy back in 2016, and it still remains really, really true. But one of the core focuses was around community safety. And so straight at the beginning, we were thinking about what is the impact we're having on the local communities that we're moving around. So road safety became a really, really big part of that. And we identified that we needed to do things like try and create hub sites, so that as much as possible, going out to satellite sites, that was coordinated in vans rather than lots and lots of cars moving through remote and rural roads, for example. We also made a commitment to always deliver the infrastructure that we're on back to at least the same standard, if not better. That's about improving roads, widening roads, making sure that the increased traffic volume we're bringing in isn't increasing the risk to the local communities. So it was very much part of the strategy back in 2015. We've also been trying to look to build on the work of other major projects like Crossrail. So, you know, with things like the development of vehicles with glass sides, etc., making sure we protect vulnerable road users. I mean, the risk profile for HS2 is very different because we're both urban and rural. But ultimately, this is about making sure we can make local decisions that will protect the risk to other road users. On top of that, of course, we've got the employee angle, so we need to be investing in things like driver programs, but I think that stuff's more normal to us now as employers. The HS2's real extra in this area is about how we work well with those local communities, I think.
That's fantastic. And Michael, I know both Balfour Beatty and Vinci manage driving for work to a very high level. You're both involved in the Driving for Better Business campaign that I run as part of my day job. So how do you take those high standards that you already have within those two principal contractors and ensure that they filter down through the whole supply chain so that the standards remain high all the way through the project?
Yeah, thanks, Simon. I think to start with, we obsess around inputs as distinct from obsessing around outputs, because more often than not, it's always interesting to be wise after the event and to look at what happened and why it happened. But for us, we focus heavily on the front end. So through a combination of technology in terms of trackers on vehicles and all that kind of stuff, we're able to monitor people's working patterns as a starter for 10, because it's really important we're aware of where our people are and the journeys they're entertaining every day. Clearly that technology enables us also to understand patterns of driver behaviour, which again is important for us to understand to help to educate, re-educate and intervene as necessary. I think what we've also found as we've gone through the last 18 months is we've moved from a project on the drawing board to a project in operation, and today we have about 3,500 people, and that 3,500 people will be circa 8,000 or 9,000 people. Now in fairness, there's a real combination of, or mix should I say, whereby we've got about 1,300 designers who are based remotely in design offices, not just in the UK but around the world, but also a number of people working from home and a number of people working in our core centres. We have a lot of people, again, getting on for about 1,500 people now, either in our offices, in back offices or on sites. Again, the important thing is to think about how we get them to and from sites each and every day. And then we have a lot of blue-collar operatives on the ground doing what I describe as the front-end work. So we're constantly monitoring who we're employing, where they are and what they're doing. And I think what's been really important, and we've all learnt this through the advent of the pandemic and coming out of it, is that it's really important we give freedom but with boundaries to our line management to make the right decisions at a local context for them and their employees, and we encourage flexible working now as well. Because as I've said earlier in the introduction today, the most dangerous thing we do every day is when we get in our cars and drive to and from work. Well, actually, the world is now enabled such that we can encourage people also to take some downtime whereby they're not doing that journey at the beginning and end of every single day, and where people are taking choices through local line management support to work from home, they are still working. So we need to make sure we're looking after them, but we're giving that freedom too. So a combination of factors, but it's all about the front line, front end, knowing where our people are, the patterns that they're working to, and trying to make educated decisions around that.
And it's great to see such a level of commitment to doing that. And Emma, we visited the another HS2 project in Willesden on Tuesday, and it's a different set of contractors, but it's the same level of commitment to those high levels of safety. So how do you, within HS2, collaborate, I guess, with Michael and his team and the other teams at the other sites to ensure that those standards remain high across all of the sites?
Oh, I mean, there's so much stuff going on. But if I start at the beginning of this, HS2 has bought some really big, really competent contractors. And we haven't done that in an old-fashioned contracting model. We've gone into a partnership with them. We really are part of the solution. And so we see it as having a convening power to bring out the best of industry. So we have a forum called SWELT, the Safety, Health and Wellbeing and Environment Leadership Team, which is all of the managing directors from the supply chain and leaders from HS2 working together to set policy together. So at the moment, Michael happens to chair that on behalf of the supply chain, but that rotates on an annual basis. So with that, we've been able to work collaboratively to set single standards on vehicles, for example, to set out our stall on what we're going to implement cross-route. So there's been some fantastic opportunities for that. But obviously as a client, we also have an obligation to do some level of assurance and monitoring. So we've been quite innovative, for example, in developing a traffic management system, which is a booking system. So because under the HS2 Act we have to manage how many vehicles are on roads at certain times, for example, all of our joint ventures will book their delivery vehicles in advance. That manages the numbers on roads at any one time, but it also means they have to identify the vehicle, make sure it meets the standards. It's far more proactive rather than finding the issues afterwards, and that's something as a client we can develop once and work with all of our suppliers to implement.
Excellent. Now, Michael, the event we're at here today involves a number of your subcontractors and service providers and partners on the project. We've got so many people here helping educate drivers. I think you've got about 100 drivers coming here with things that they can do and learn about, so they're more aware of the risks on the road. What do you hope will be, I guess, the outcome from today?
I think from a personal perspective, I learn something every day, and as I get older I know I learn more every day. So what I'm hoping to get from today is to take away something that I hadn't thought about, so I'm going to leave it that consciously vague. But I hope that the same applies to everybody today, whereby as we work around these stalls, and more importantly we have conversations, we actually provoke thought and makes us curious, and then we say, actually, I'm going to go and find out a bit more about that. So my hope is that actually we all leave today maybe knowing consciously a little bit less than we thought we knew, but actually knowing that there are one or two areas that maybe we can now explore and up our own knowledge. Ultimately, what we need to think about is when we really come down to locations like this in the front line, we need to be ensuring that we're really thinking about the real hazards and the risks. So, Emma and I have spoken with Schwelt and others across the team about, mud on roads. We think about that. It's one of the most hazardous things. And as the weather's going to change in the next 6, 8, 10 weeks, we need to think about the increased vehicle movements and potentially what we're going to leave on the roads. Now, I take great heart, and I think Emma does too, to know that at a working level, our teams are discussing in great detail, things about wheel washers and everything else on a site level to make sure we don't take mud out onto the roads. But as we learn through incidents, and this is a big issue for us at the moment across Schwelt, is we've got to make sure we've got learning culture, get the basics right, and actually we really are taking experiences from other projects either within the HS2 world or beyond, and make sure we quickly share the learnings and we take action. So, even just the other day where a tailgate on a tipper wagon was showing the right light in the cab, a piece of stone was trapped in one of the open hinges, and fortunately we were let's say escorting the vehicle, and a small volume of stone was deposited on the road in an uncontrolled way. Now, I think on that occasion we were lucky. The learning we had from that was actually we need to do a more intrusive visual check before we close the tailgate and check the lights on. But it's things like that. We've got to take that incident, learn from it, and make sure that across the family we all spread the news. And I say the family being the whole of HS2, not just within BBV. So what I hope today is we'll take these learnings, we'll have conversations, we'll become more curious, and we'll get after the real risks, Simon.
One of the most important points I thought from your address earlier was your insistence that anybody at any level can say no at any point if they don't feel safe. I think that was a key thing that shows the commitment from the top and gives people ownership over the safety as well, and that they can make their own decisions and know that they can look after the safety of themselves and their colleagues. So Emma, Michael, thank you both very much for your time. Great talking to you, and I hope you have a really good day.
Thanks, Simon.
Simon Turner there with a fantastic update from just over there. Now, obviously, Project Edward is all about a conversation we're having on social media about road safety, and who better to talk to than our social media guru, Neil Jewson-Smith. How's it looking in the social media nerve centre, Neil?
Good morning, Neil, from the Operations Centre here in Cheshire. It's looking nice down there for you guys at Coventry. Social's doing really well. Friday, day 5. We've all had a really busy week. It's starting to wind down a bit. You'd think everybody's a bit tired. It's been a really full-on week, but on social media, no. We dropped out yesterday at about 43.7 million, and we've had a whole bucket load of tweets in support of Project Edward this morning. Driving for Better Business, Sussex Fire and Rescue Service, ROSPA, the Royal Society for Prevention of Accidents, Go Safe, Cheshire Fire and Rescue, one of our sponsors, Solon Security, have been putting some content out. And 3 forces that I've definitely seen this morning, Cleveland, Nottinghamshire and Sussex, are all putting out content. As a consequence, we're up to 46 million impressions on Twitter this morning. And looking at the tweets on the slide there, we've also now had just over 6,500 tweets from over 1,700 individual contributors, which is just an amazing set of figures. A couple of other things that we can mention while we're here with regard to social and the work that we've been doing here in the Operations Centre. The videos that we've been putting out over social, that have been going out over Twitter and Facebook and YouTube, we've had over 6,000 video views now of that content we've been pushing out during Project Edward Week, and our follower counts on all of our platforms has increased significantly, which is great because it shows people are interested in what we're doing and people are interested in road safety and how they can get involved with Project Edward. I'd finish on 2 things for you, Neil. Yesterday's daily competition was drawn online just prior to us going live this morning. Anthony R from Manchester won that one. And this morning, as you will know, we drew offline the Fact Hunt competition. And the two winners there are Loney B from Hampshire and Tom W from Stafford. They'll all be receiving their Nextbase dash cams through the post. They'll go out for them today. But otherwise, Neil, everything in the operations centre is looking good. Everybody's still really active on social media and supporting Project Edward, which is great to see. And it's all good so far.
Thanks very much, Neil. Let's keep that conversation going. The hashtag is Project Edward. And don't forget, you can link up with us via our website where you can see our social feeds there. And we have a playlist of all of our live broadcasts from the week. Now, of course, we couldn't do Project Edward without our supporters. You may have seen, if you've seen our cars out and about, you will have seen the logos on them, and you will have seen that's just a selection of the partners that have been involved with this. We've got sponsors, we've got partners both in road safety and in the commercial sector as well. Let's just hear from a few of those now.
Hello, my name's Patrick Mcguire and I'm a partner specialising in fatal and catastrophic injury at HCC Solicitors in London. HCC is extremely proud to be supporting Project Edward in 2021. All too often in my line of work, I see the sad, life-changing consequences for people and their families when the worst happens. Please be safe, vigilant and be fit for the road and support Project Edward for their week of action. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Spinks. I'm Managing Director of Extrications Traffic Safety Systems Company, and we've been supporting Project Edward for the last 4 years. Join us for a week of action in September so we can work together to achieve 0 road deaths every day.
Hi, I'm Ian Lewin from DTech with the drug wipe device, and we are proud to once again be involved with Project Edward to help educate on the dangers of drug driving and its ever-increasing prevalence in our society and on our roads. Good luck, Project Edward.
As a former sergeant in London's Metropolitan Police Road Policing Unit, I'm delighted that Doors Highway Safety are supporting Project Edward 2021. Throughout the project, our team are taking a hands-on approach by delivering road safety events in London, Oxford and Birmingham. We're already working with UK police forces, insurers, charities and key stakeholders to share safety messages in line with Vision Zero and Project Edward.
And again, thank you very much to our supporters and sponsors, not just for the road trip, but Project Edward as a whole. We really, really value your support. What's happening with James? Oh, James, I think you've got a guest live.
I'm very pleased that we are able to connect with our friends from the United Kingdom Rescue Organisation, who are beginning their weekend of... sorry, I can barely hear. Who are beginning their weekend of activity with their rescue challenge in Newcastle. And I should be able to speak to Steve Apter, who's patron of the United Kingdom Rescue Organisation. Steve, you're very welcome. Tell us what you're doing this weekend.
Well, on behalf of UKRO and working with our colleagues in the Newcastle Tyne Fire Rescue Service, we're hosting the annual Rescue Challenge. It's been running for over 30 years now, and it really is a showcase of the latest rescue techniques and demonstrated by firefighters from across the UK. And it really emphasises that, particularly with the expectation, the post-crash response and how we advance and we're improving our skills all the time. But really, Peter is the Deputy Chief of Tyne Fire and Rescue Service. They're hosting it on our behalf, so it's very much a team game this one.
Well, if I may turn to Peter, you're very welcome, Peter Heath. I hope you can hear me. We can see you very well and hopefully hear you. Peter, let's talk about how technology is changing in vehicle design and how you as firefighters and rescue professionals keep up to date with those changes. How do you do it?
Quickly and it's changing. Still need to maintain the skills of the vehicle. available overseas so that you take note of that. It's very important that it's not partnership or under fire rescue that we speak
Pit 3, Western B team, getting access, critical spaces like that, rear section, silver,
Yeah, okay. Thank you very much, Peter. Sorry, we couldn't hear you terribly well, but we're very grateful. Can I come back to Steve? Of course, road extrications are not the only thing that's going on there. So just give us a quick rundown of what else we would see there.
Sure. Well, obviously, public know us as the fire and rescue service, and actually over 80% of the calls we go to nowadays are not actually fires. So here today and over the weekend in Newcastle, we've got demonstration, obviously the extrication you can see behind me, but we've also got urban search and rescue specialists. They're the kind of teams that go into major disasters, but also on our home soil where we need real heavy lifting gear and cutting gear to help rescue people. Also, we've got water rescue, lots of water rescue capabilities around the UK, and particularly with events that we're seeing with flash floods, but also here on the Tyne. We've got rope rescue, which is working in partnership with specialist teams to be able to get access to rescues at high height and also below ground. We've also got the trauma workshops and the trauma challenge. And trauma and first aid and advancements in that of those first responders has probably been the biggest change we've seen in the UK Fire Service in recent times. That's a significant part of what we do here. But also, really importantly, is the community engagement village. It's really showcasing the preventative activities that the Fire and Rescue Service deliver, particularly here in Tyne and Wear. It's a fantastic event. And tomorrow on Saturday, we really hope to see members of the public enjoying the demonstrations on show.
Oh, Steve Apter and Peter Heath, I'm very grateful. Thank you very much. We'll leave you to continue. We'll be speaking to the president, I think, of the World Rescue Organization just a little later. But for now, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks very much, James. Appreciate that. And you see in front of the car I've been driving, and my colleague Tim's been driving. That's our black road trip line. You can see demonstration of trucks here from Lynch, and got some Doors Highway Safety Group. Grateful for them to set it up for our photo shoot. We had the paparazzi in as we were arriving earlier, all guns blazing. Again, our supporters, really important. And here's some messages coming up now from a few more of those as they say thanks.
Hi, I'm Colin Patterson from Drivetech. We're a leader in driver training and we're part of the AA. Project Edward is a great campaign to emphasise just how important road safety and perhaps even more importantly, the need for road risk reduction really is. We want everyone to be fit and safe for the road, and we look forward to a fantastic effort in 2021.
Hello, I'm Neil Worth. I'm the Chief Executive of Gem Motoring Assist. We've proudly supported Project Edward since 2016, and we're incredibly pleased to be able to do so again this year. We believe everybody should be supporting Project Edward because it's such a fantastic initiative. Everyone can play their part to keep each other safe on the roads.
Hello, my name's Patrick Mcguire and I'm a partner specialising in fatal and catastrophic injury at HCC Solicitors in London. HCC is extremely proud to be supporting Project Edward in 2021. All too often in my line of work, I see the sad, life-changing consequences for people and their families when the worst happens. Please be safe, vigilant and be fit for the road and support Project Edward for their week of action. Thank you.
Unoptic are proud supporters of Project Edward for 2021. As a business whose everyday purpose is about making roads and journeys safer for everyone, we will continue to use this initiative as part of the drive towards zero deaths on our roads.
Hi, my name is Bryn Brooker. I'm Head of Marketing at Nextbase Dashcams. We know that dashcams are a really important tool to help keep the UK's roads safe by protecting yourself and catching dangerous drivers. We're really, really proud to be supporting Project Edward, so do everything you can to keep the UK's roads safe and make sure you've got a dashcam.
Webfleet Solutions is delighted to be the telematics partner for Project Edward in 2021. We both share the same ambitions, which is to have safer roads for everyone to drive in the UK. And we look forward to the coming weeks and months where we demonstrate how key driving data and analysis can help everyone achieve this.
Hello, my name is Patrick Mcguire and I'm a partner specialising in fatal and catastrophic injury at HCC Solicitors in London. HCC is extremely proud to be supporting Project Edward in 2021. All too often in my line of work, I see the sad, life-changing consequences for people and their families when the worst happens. Please be safe, vigilant and be fit for the road and support Project Edward for their week of action. Thank you.
Thank you again to them. Now, I'll just give you a bit of geography of the place. Now, this is the most important part, I think some would say, of the event. This is the coffee bar. Been serving up treats for everybody here all day. Just to give you, have a look around here. We've got the cars here all lined up. This is a sort of a wider shot you've got there of the trucks and the cars. And you may have just caught a glimpse of James and Darren there preparing. Now, walk with me, Tim. Tim's my cameraman. He's going to come with me. And we're going to just have a look over here. Now, what you've seen, all sorts of demonstrations and activities going on in the back. Behind this marquee, you can see there. I'll walk with Tim so you can see them, what's going on rather than me. You've got some, on the right-hand side here with the Balfour Beatty flag, you've got a reaction time display. And you can see that sort of that screen just in front of the people. They're testing their reaction times to various hazards. As I say, this is a driving for works, driving safely event for staff and partners that work with HS2. And you've got some stands in here for different providers of safety systems, different organisations that work to make the roads safer. If you look on the right there, you've got Wescotec, who provide electronic signage from the road. So if you've ever driven along and been warned that you might be 1 or 2 miles an hour over the speed limit, those signs that light up, Wescotec may well have provided those, and they're of course a Project Edward sponsor. So that's kind of what to look at. We'll walk back now, and as we do, we'll look. There's some stands here with information on for staff. So the idea is staff come along, get involved in the activities, watch the demonstrations, which are quite extensive, and we'll see some clips of those being posted on social media later. So there's lots for people to see. And as I say, we're right in the heart of the country here. We've had people from all over the country coming here to look at all of this work. So that's it from me. Now, while we're looking at these cars, you might remember something we did. You might remember something that we did. A few weeks ago, we publicised that we were going to do a battery efficiency challenge. Why on our plate? I don't know, but we did. So we were going to see if we could drive with the most battery efficiency. So these are electric cars, as you'll be aware. We don't talk about miles per gallon. We talk about miles per kilowatt hour. How did we do with that? Well, we're about to find out. Neil Jewson-Smith has got the results. Neil, how did we do?
Well, I've got the figures from the dashboards, Neil, and we've had a look. As you say, it's a different world for people that aren't familiar with electric vehicles, and it's not miles per gallon, but it's miles per kilowatt hour. The efficiency that the drivers have in maximising the range that the batteries can provide. So we'll go in reverse order.
Yeah.
And in reverse order, in third position, I'm afraid, Neil, it's yourself. On the screen there, we can see that you managed 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. But you did do quite a significant mileage with 711 miles. I don't think you did the most miles, which surprised me, actually. But there you go. You're in third place with 3.8 miles per kilowatt hour. If we move into second position, we can look at James. James there is showing that he's achieved actually 4.1 miles per kilowatt hour. done considerably less miles than you, but his efficiency has been better. But there are obviously lots of other factors that come into play there, the terrain that you're driving through, hills and all those kind of things that affect the performance of the batteries. But we have to conclude, despite all those factors that we can't actually assess, we've not judged your gradient climbs up and down, all the rest of it. But Simon in the white car rolled in with the most miles, 755, but also 4.3 miles per kilowatt hour, which is pretty good for those vehicles. That's a good range, a good efficiency for those vehicles. 4.3 to 4.5 is running really well. So congratulations to Simon. He did an excellent job there.
Thank you very much. You've got experience with electric vehicles. It is a challenge to get that, to sort of monitor it, isn't it? It's a challenge to monitor your driving as you're going along and think ahead for the next charging stop. Is that going to work? Is it going to give you enough juice? Is it a rapid charge? There's a lot of thought process, but it is worth it. I think you correct me if I'm wrong. You tend to find that once you've been doing it for a while, it does become a bit sort of second nature. Naturally, you get into a bit of a groove with the whole charging regime.
Yes, most definitely. I mean, oddly, not linked to Project Edward, but I became the owner of a Kia electric vehicle some months before, and so I've become quite familiar. So it's been very easy for me to sort of hook in with how you guys are doing with the Kia cars. And yes, it's a little bit unnerving at first and makes a lot of people very uncertain. But it does create a situation eventually where your mentality changes. And let's face it, when we're looking at road safety and we're talking about all the issues that come with road safety, and the big one on long drives, which is where people tend to get this range anxiety, is that it makes you stop. And we look at fatigue and think about driver fatigue and how dangerous that can be. And you think, well, if you're driving for 200 miles on a Kia and then you stop and plug in for 45 minutes, it gives you that time to refresh, get some fresh air, stretch your legs, have some coffee, reset yourself, and then continue with your journey. It's very easy in a traditional fossil fuel vehicle to just blast the 300, 400 miles that you need to do. So it's a different way of looking at things, but yes, but it soon becomes second nature, and then it doesn't cross your mind then. So
well, that's handy. I think then we owe congratulations to Simon. Are you there, Simon? Okay, Simon, are you there? Thanks very much. James, who have you got?
I'm very pleased to welcome Paul Schroeder from the World Rescue Organization. Now, Paul is based in Luxembourg, but is visiting Tyne and Wear for the UK Extrication Challenge. Paul, I hope you can hear me okay, sir.
Yes, hello, how are you?
Hello, you're very welcome. What are you hoping to get out of being in Newcastle this weekend?
As always on the challenge, one thing is also to meet, to connect with people, to do networking, but also very happy to see a first time United Kingdom Rescue Organization Challenge. I'm used to see the trauma and extrication, but this time we also have the possibility to see rope rescue and water rescue. And as we have also a team from Luxembourg competing in the water rescue, I'm very glad to see that as well.
Describe how techniques have changed over the past few years in vehicle extrications.
Yeah, when I started doing rescue work, the rescue workers, the firefighters, they concentrated almost on the car. So they were focused on dismantling the car, but the victim wasn't in the center of their attention. And that is what has changed over the years. And I think it's most important that there's a good communication between the medical team and the technical team. And today, and that is what we also see here in the challenges, is that the rescue work is really centered around the victim.
Now, Project Edward is all about road safety engagement and sharing good practice. We're keen to be your partner, to work with the World Rescue Organization in helping save lives on the road across the world. Any advice on how we can do that? What can we do to bring our organizations closer together?
The World Rescue Organization is a member of the United Nations Road Safety Collaborationship. And there we work also for road safety. And what people sometimes forget is that road safety doesn't stop with the accident. There's also a big chance to save lives after the accident happened. And there is where I see the collaboration with your organization is to bring this awareness to the people working in road safety, that we can be complementary in our work. We will focus on the technical aspects of the road traffic collision extrication work, and with your expertise and your knowledge and network can bring also the other aspects of road safety into this work, and together we will be really complementary in this lobbying that we can do on the international scene as well.
Paul Schroeder from the World Rescue Organization, I'm very grateful. I hope you have a very productive weekend and you take away lots of learnings and we can share them for good practice. So Paul Schroeder, thank you. We'll hand back to Neil Barrett.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Now, the interesting thing is we're going to do something a bit different here. Simon is just over there. He's going to come over. Simon, you don't need any of your equipment. James, if I ask James to come over with his microphone now, James is going to pop over so we've got some sound. And we're going to give you some final thoughts before we go. Just before we do that, though, I'd like some final thoughts from Neil Jewson-Smith on social media. Neil, for you, what's the one thing you take away from this week when it comes to what you've seen on social media?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I think really probably the whole theme this week has been about being fit for the road, and there's been a big focus, and particularly for you guys there today, about safer driving for work and driving for better business and all those kind of aspects. And we've got a tweet that actually is the tweet of the day for yesterday and was really appropriate for today, that we can put on the screen now and show you. It comes from Northumbria Police Road Safety. And they were out doing checks yesterday, and they got a HGV that had got a bald tire. It had got an insecure load, and it had got webbing straps that were worn. And it really just sort of resonated with me and fitted in with the fact that it fits with the driver responsibility for checking their vehicles, but also the fleet operator's responsibility to ensure the maintenance is kept up on their vehicles. And that sort of tied in with the work that you've done this week with Webfleet and their telematics system that helps them monitor that kind of stuff. And so I think it was just really important about how complacent sometimes we can be when we look at the safety of our vehicles, and we just imagine that everything's okay, and we don't actually physically check them as often as we should. And I think that's probably my takeaway and my thing for this week, is that we all need to be much, much better at checking our own vehicles, whether it's our own vehicle or the one that we drive for work, to make sure that they're fit for the road. But there you go. That's the tweet of the day from yesterday for Northumbria Police.
Thank you very much, Neil. And on behalf of all of us here, and I'm just going to take these out because I can hear myself. Very disconcerting feeling to hear yourself on a couple of seconds delay. Thank you very much, Neil. Really appreciate all your hard work. I think I can safely say on behalf of all three of us that are here, we're really, really grateful for all of your support with social media in the Nerve Centre. Simon Turner, what do you take away from this week?
I think the thing that's been really striking for me has been the absolute commitment and enthusiasm from everybody we've met. We've been to such a variety of projects, whether it's Safe Roads partnerships or business driving events, real mix of people and objectives, yet they've all been massively committed and enthusiastic about what they're doing. And I think that's really great.
Yeah. And James Luckhurst, your takeaways?
I think it's vital that we look at the fact that that speed exercise that we organised on Wednesday and Thursday. I'd like to have thought we would have had no casualties, no fatalities, but we had more than average, and it just shows that there is so much to do, but it is in every individual's hands and in their feet to make a difference on every journey. And if we can somehow reach out and go beyond the where we are at the moment to reach the people who perhaps are a little bit harder to reach and persuade them that it is in everyone's hands to make a difference.
Thank you, James. Like Simon, James, really appreciate it. I have got a few thanks. Obviously, there's people behind the scenes. There's our co-drivers who doubled up as camera people as well, kept us on the road, fueled, watered, all the rest of it this week. We've got Becky Hadley on PR. We've got all the people back in the studio who have worked so hard. A big thanks to our sponsors, our road trip partners. I won't name them all, but after I finish speaking, you'll see a big list of them on the screen. We have enjoyed is one word for this week. We've taken a lot from it. We have seen some excellent work that goes on. Our partners on the ground have been absolutely fantastic. And to each and every one that has been involved out there as we've carried out our road trip, we thank you too. Just remains for me to say from all of us here on Project Edward, goodbye.